Welcome, my fellow sports nerds, to the Borderless Sports Pod. I'm Locke.
I'm Tom. If you enjoyed this clip, check out the full length on our YouTube and Spotify.
Links are in the description. Ciao. I've heard many people say this. I mean, we may as well get into the trade, is that for the Mavs to do that now is just ridiculous. And that'll probably be a theme of the discourse of the entire conversation is why did the Mavs do what they did, right? But they could have signed Dončić to a 4 or 5 year deal. Dončić would have signed it. Of course he would have. And then at the end of the year, you sign him and then you say, okay, we'll shop him around. The amount you could have got for Dončić on a 5 year deal would have been extraordinary. Instead, you don't sign him, which means the new team's going to have to try and re-sign him, which means he's not locked in for 4 or 5 years. Plus, obviously, the Mavs only offered him to one team, so you couldn't go to market and have an auction type style where you try to see what you can get. Yeah. Instead, they just do mid-season, don't give anyone any warning, and give him to a team that seems to have had the leverage somehow, where the Lakers were able to counter offer and say, no, we're not going to do this. We're going to offer you just this. And the Mavs were, for some reason, so desperate, they said yes. Like, in what world did the Mavs have any urgency to move on then? Yeah. Like, since when the Mavs all of a sudden have to win right now this season? Yeah. Like, we're talking about 10 years in the future. Ask Detroit Pistons what it's like to be in the cellar. Like, we're talking, if you get your franchise wrong long term, your fans are in the shit. Yeah. Like, it is awful in the NBA. It's hard to get out because if you're not an attractive destination, no one wants to go there. So the Mavs have just GM, I'm not saying the Mavs, like their GM and owner have played fast and loose with this team and have basically put them at jeopardy of the Dallas Mavericks becoming a bottom tier team, having no star power if Kyrie leaves and Davis just loses interest and just fades off into the sunset or doesn't resign or whatever it is. For what? Like, what you got back? I mean, does anyone even care what they got back? Like, it literally doesn't matter. Like, Davis is the only thing that matters. And as we know, he's already aging. He's had injury problems. He's still playing great. Like, Davis is still a top-tier player. And I understand the Mavs wanted to get a top-tier player in return. They didn't want to get, 6 first-round picks and future prospects. They wanted something that could help them win right now. Yeah. I understand that. But they could have got so much more plus a star if they had just waited. They probably could have got Durant and a hell of a lot of picks. Yep. I mean, they could have essentially, I reckon they could have gotten anyone in the league except for SGA, Giannis, Jokic, maybe Embiid, but I think Philly would probably do that deal.
Philly would do it, I reckon.
So we're saying three players: Jokic, SGA, and Giannis. Three players. Every single other player in the NBA would be up for grabs, and probably multiple packages.
I reckon Milwaukee probably would have had a convo. They probably would have.
You reckon?
Yeah, I reckon they would have thought about it.
Yeah, look, maybe. But the fact that we're even having that conversation, right, about it just shows that the amount Dallas could have got if they had just waited to the end of the year, not put so much, just done it so hastily, had re-signed him to the max, locked him into that 5. No team would have had any problem paying him the max. Like, a lot of times you don't want to pay someone a max contract, so you get into a Beal situation where you've got a guy on your books who you're paying top dollar who no one else would want that contract. Dončić on a max contract, everyone's going to pay it. Like, no one would care. Instead, you would have 5 years of him locked up. He would be the most valuable asset on the market by a country mile, and every team would essentially want to sign it. And instead, they do a move that lends into conspiracy thinking, because it's like, why would you do this so quick in this way, risk your whole franchise to win this year essentially, because Kyrie could get up and out of here, Davis could get an injury, for a player that you knew had at least 5 years and probably 10. I mean, he's playing for a long time, Luka, and he's not in great shape. Yeah. So he's not going to have like a 10, 15 year career. But you're guaranteed over the next 5 years, probably 7, 8, to be high fanfare, to be meddling, trying to get to finals, trying to get deep in the playoffs, large ticket sales, large jersey sales, media attention. You're guaranteed to be a hot destination for other players. Yep. And instead, you've risked all of that to win right now or next year with a team that's good but nowhere near the top of the range. Yeah. So why? Why, Tom? Why?
That is so well said. From a basketball point of view, it makes zero sense to me. When you're looking at it from a basketball perspective, you're looking at the Mavs who value AD more than Luka,
in terms of winning,
which is insane to me.
Look, you can make the argument. I think you can make the argument that this year Like this very year, AD contributes more to winning than Luka Doncic does. Like I think you can make that argument. Like you don't have to believe either way. But I think if you want to say that AD with his defense, his length, his big game prowess, like he's won a championship. AD.
Yeah. That's fair.
Offers more than Dončić does this year, who's been injured this year, has been in and out, who... Yeah, it's hard also to say that because he did make the finals last year.
Dončić.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
but I'm saying
that's
my point is you
now?
can make the argument. What you can't make the argument for is that long term, it is not even a debate. It is an awful decision long term. And that's the thing. Like that's why people don't trade superstars, is because you're not just about this year. It's about many years later down the track. Why did Kyrie come to Dallas? Because of Luka was there. Like there's a reason why having a star is so important.
And after all the shit Kyrie's gone through the past couple of years, like he was finally on like a normal track.
Yeah, he's on a good trajectory.
Like,
he's on an upward trajectory for the first time in a long time.
Like he was with them obviously last year when they made that finals run and, you know, took down Thunder. Were there for the finals against the Celtics, and in the end it was Celtics' year, but you know, that team had a good chance to win it.
And the biggest thing with Luka as well is he's a big game player. Like he rises to the occasion in the playoffs, which is what you want from your star. Like you worry that some stars sort of shrink a little, the moment gets a little too big. You know that's not the case with Luka. He goes after the big dog and tries to take him down. Like who did he go against? Was it 2 years ago? Dončić. Oh, who's he had that spat with?
Had a spat with?
In the playoffs. It was like a series. They beat him in 7. Oh, Booker from the remember that?
Yeah,
like he took Phoenix's soul in that series, and that was the year that Phoenix was supposed to win it all. Yeah. And Dončić comes in and just destroys him in that game 7 and just danced on him essentially. Like he is the definition of a big game player. Like he may not be in great shape all throughout the season or whatever you want to say, but at the end of the day, when it comes down to crunch time, you know he's going to perform. Yeah. Now the criticism of him is he gets a little tired, right? He's not looking after his body as well as he could. So deep in playoffs, like he was in that Boston series, he was cooked. Like he had nothing left in the legs. He was so tired. And that is a criticism. And that was the sort of what the Mavs said, right? That we don't want to give the keys to the house to a guy that doesn't take care of his body, that's not in shape. Yeah. Which, I mean, okay, but it's not like he's fat. It's not like he's not just got you to a finals.
Yeah.
Like,
but you spoke about that killer instinct when he's versing Booker. Imagine now the ex-GM and stuff coming out against him. Like, imagine the fuel that gives him now to now come out for the Lakers and just go up another level. Plus, when you pair that with LeBron, who's...
He's right now is insane.
Now, yeah.
How is he
playing insane at that age, looking after his body so well. Like, the guidance that he's going to have from the greatest, one of the greatest, some people would argue, is just going to be an absolute dagger, like, for the Lakers. Like,
I totally agree.
The heights of a lifetime.
I totally agree. Like, LeBron James is in his Master Uguay phase right now. Like, he is in the, I'm going to teach you young Padawan. And Luka Doncic is at his stage of his career where he's ready to go on to that next level. Like Master Shifu move on to Master Uguay level, to continue the Kung Fu Panda analogy. So it's just a perfect match. Now, the defense is obviously a problem. But in terms of, as you said, Luka, everything you can say negatively about him in terms of his staying in shape, how much he's committed to sort of being healthy in basketball shape all year round, he has the perfect teacher in LeBron James to completely fix that. In addition to what you said about having a chip on your shoulder and saying, wow, you didn't believe in me, you traded me away for peanuts on the dollar. I'm going to show you, right? So everything is set up for Luka. If he is the guy that we're saying and everyone else seems to think, to have LeBron James, a chip on your shoulder, the glamour franchise, you're going to be taken care of, they're going to look after you. You have every single thing at your disposal to become the best in the league, essentially. I don't think he'll ever be the best in the league because of his defense, but by far the best offensive player in the league. He has everything right there for him. So if you're the Mavs, you've got to sit back and say, wow, thank goodness we don't have to pay Luka that money, but you're going to go have to watch him become the best version of himself. And who knows, maybe the GM's playing 4D chess where he's like secretly just loves Luka, really wants him to succeed.
Maybe 4 or 5 years from now where, like, man, they got rid of him at the perfect time.
Maybe Luka goes so downhill and he just collapses in LA and enjoys the Five Guys burgers and the In-N-Out and just he can never get it together and that's it. But look, as we said, we've seen enough of Luka that he seems to be the guy that has a will to win, is committed to the game. And yes, he obviously loves a beer and loves a hookah.
Who
I think
doesn't?
it is. Yeah, he loves to party and enjoy
Everyone's
that sort
got
of
that
stuff.
side of him.
He's still young, and I said he has LeBron James next to him now, who's going to be able to say, "Hey, look, it's all well and good, but if you want to be able to push past that ceiling that you've got right now, which is like making it to the finals, just like I feel like the Western Conference Finals at the moment is his ceiling because of his conditioning a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter how good you are, if you're a liability on defense and you're having to essentially be a passenger on defense because you've got nothing left in the tank, you're not going to win a finals, right?
Yeah.
Like you need to be able to not be a great defender because a lot of that is down to your physical attributes, but at least be focused and locked in and not just a witch's hat out there on the court. So if LeBron James can sort of get that into him, got to be a little fitter, a little bit in shape, and then, hey, off season comes around, you go enjoy yourself, young buck type shit. So it's just... the whole trade is just crazy. I mean, as we said, you never see a guy in his prime traded like this. You never see a team so rushed to trade a star like this, and get so little for him in return. Like we just saw the Lakers make another trade where they essentially gave away all the assets that they didn't have to put into the trade with Dončić. The Dončić trade should have been for every single asset they also gave to what team they trade for, the center.
Mark Williams, he was
it Atlanta?
Charlotte? I
can't remember.
I
But yeah, whatever basically all the assets they gave to get Mark Williams should have also have been in the package to get Dončić. The Lakers should have had nothing left. They should have been gutted if they were to get Dončić. The fact that they still had so many assets left to trade for another guy, and they would have had no leverage in that trade because every team knew that the Lakers need a center. So they would have been able to fleece the Lakers and just take them to the town in terms of leverage. And yet they still had enough in the bank to be able to make that trade.
From a basketball perspective, it makes zero sense.
And from a GM perspective, like a running the organization perspective, it makes zero sense.
That's why these conspiracy theories come up. Lachlan,
that's it, man.
One of them, did Adam Silver get a call? Hey, trade your big guy to the Lakers.
We need some hype. Super Bowl week.
Yeah. We need some heat.
Hey, maybe
we need some eyeballs.
That would be. I tell you what, those Mavs GM better have a big bag and is coming his way.
Or I'll tell you another one I heard.
Yeah.
So these new owners, they're in the gambling business, and they're trying to open up a casino in Dallas, but they're getting pushed back on their motion.
Right.
So, as like a FU to the politicians of Dallas, get rid of your big star in Dallas.
Jeez, look, if an NBA owner is that spiteful and is willing to ruin his investment,
there's a lot of money in casinos.
There's also a lot of money in owning an NBA team and having Dončić on your team.
That's why it's a conspiracy theory. That's why it's a conspiracy theory.
I mean, look, I get it. I said it makes zero sense. And I said, this GM for the Mavs hasn't been there long enough to be able to... I said this to you yesterday. He has not built up enough capital with the Mavs fans and the Mavs organization to just walk in there and say, hey, you know your favorite player?
Yeah.
You know that jersey you have? You know the guy you go to the arena and you turn on the TV to watch? Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
Who's the Mavs GM to do that?
The fans are living.
Like, why? Like, how... Like, you haven't been around long enough. You haven't built up the dollars in the bank to just be able to go around and play gunslinger like this with your most prized asset. Like, it's just it's unexcusable. And he's put his whole career on the line, his prestige on the line for what? And he said, to be fair, in his interview, it would have been easier if I just did nothing. And it's like, yeah, because there's a reason why everyone else does nothing, because it's the right thing to do. Like, he's put himself on a limb for zero reason because what he thinks he's some basketball genius where it's like, yeah, look, if I trade you Luka, it's going to hurt us long term, but yeah, we're going to win a championship in the next year. If the Dallas Mavs do not win a championship this year or next year, it doesn't matter what happens with Luka, it's the wrong move. And does anyone think the Mavs are going to win a championship this year or next year?
No.
I sure as hell don't. I don't think Anthony Davis and Kyrie are a good fit together in terms of personalities. Basketball wise, they're pretty good together. But I don't think it's going to work. I think that whole Mavs franchise, they basically gave everything to Luka, and now he's gone. They're going to have to rebuild their offense. They're going to have to redo everything. Jason Kidd is going to have to be like, what the hell? Like, the entire just vibes in that building would have to be so weird and different just because of what's happened.
Yeah.
The chances of them just suddenly gelling and getting it together this year, I don't like their chances. And next year, I mean, maybe they'll be, maybe 4th, 5th best odds in the West, maybe. But the fact that you throw away your entire future to have the 4th or 5th best odds to win the West, you can't. It's so inexcusable. And this is done from a GM that just has no business making such a drastic move to a team and to the fans of the team.
Yeah.
So it's, no matter which way you want to look at this or slice it, it makes zero sense. I can't wrap my head around it. The Lakers are, just thinking, oh my goodness. Apparently the Lakers GM and the Dallas GM are like friends, or maybe the owner. I know there's like friends between them.
Yeah.
So they're saying like, it's a little conspiracy again that for some reason the only guy he offered Luka to was his friend.
That's the one thing that's just, why just go to one team? Like, that's why I said he values AD so much. He didn't want to listen to any other offers.
He want to get it leaked out, right? So the more teams you go to, the more chance it is of leaked out. And all it takes is one guy to say to Sham,
so they just went to one team because they wanted AD.
Yeah.
They wanted AD on his team.
So they wanted, obviously, he really wanted AD, but he also just wanted to make it quick and efficient and not have a long drawn out process where the media is like, oh my God, they're trying to trade Luka. Because that, of course, would derail your season too. But that's the whole point. Do it at the end of the season. Like, don't do it mid-season. Just play this year out. You just made the finals last year. See what you can do this year. And if you still don't think he's the guy, re-sign him to the Supermax, put him on the trade block and say, hey, who wants him? Give us what you've got. And
something smells like shit. There's probably shit there.
Yes, it just seems so weird. And said maybe this GM is just thinks he's that guy. Like, he thinks he's just the most.
Maybe he's that guy.
He is the next. What's the
Jerry Jones?
Yeah, honestly, that's what he's starting to look like. No, Jerry West. He thinks he's the next Jerry West, where he's going to become the greatest basketball exec of all time. Yeah, I don't think so. I feel sorry for the Dallas fans. Honestly, people who live in Dallas who root for Dončić and root now. They got to watch him.
I love to know the memberships or shitting that they've lost for the rest of this year.
That's the thing as well, because Dončić is a great fit for the Lakers. His personality is great for the Lakers. Like that sort of arrogance, but still sort of endearing in a way. Like, he's got that good mix where fans are going to love him. Like, the way he acts, him and LeBron are going to get along well. Of course, the problem is going to be their defense is just going to be. LeBron is still a pretty good defender, but he's nowhere near peak LeBron. He's 40 years old, for God's sake. Yeah. Dončić is probably one of the worst defenders in the league. Austin Reeves is okay, but he's not a great defender. Like, they're really going to struggle for high-level defending. And look, they won like 4 from 5 since AD's left, so they're still doing okay. But come playoff time, and we know it's all about defense, how are they going to be able to shut down these really good offensive teams? Against the Thunder, I feel that'd be an awful matchup for them.
How much can that offense help you?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you can't win a championship trying to score 130 points every night and giving up 100 plus. Like, you've got to be able to lock down some teams defensively. Some nights your offense is going to be off, and you've got to be able to compensate with your defense, right? Yeah. And the Lakers just aren't built like that. I haven't seen this new center they've traded for. I haven't seen anything about him. Apparently he's a bit injury prone, but apparently he's extremely talented, got great natural sort of gifts in terms of physical abilities. So apparently that could be a solution, but that's probably a long term. Like, I can't see him just slotting in and being good this year. And it's a shame because LeBron right now is playing at such a high level at his age. How
many years does he have left?
His run that he's been on the last month is absurd. Like, the way he today, I don't know how the game today against the Warriors ended up, but he was on 29 points or something at half or just after the half.
Even a month ago, he was in back-to-back triple-doubles games.
It's incredible how well he's playing. And he surely, I know we keep saying this every year, but he can't be doing this for 2 or 3 years. Like, you think if Luka and LeBron are going to win together, it has to be this year, next year, or maybe the year after.
Yeah.
After that, you just can't see it happening again. So it's like, well, once LeBron goes, then you're going to have to get basically a whole salary cap to get a new player in to pair with Dončić, which could work. But LeBron said himself he could have left if he didn't like the fit. He could have just waived his no trade clause and gotten out of LA. So he clearly thinks it could work with Dončić. And look, either way, if you're LA, you're thinking, wow, we're going to have great games to watch. It's going to be fun.
Hey, we got the GOAT paired with at least one of the top 4 players in the league right now. So
offensively, definitely, yeah. That's the thing. I personally, in NBA, I value defense a lot. Like, I understand a lot of people just think they want to watch the crazy step back in the 40, 50-point games, but at the end of the day, basketball's a sport, and sport's about winning. And if you want to win, you have to be able to do defense. Just as simple as it is, because 5v5, both sides of the court. It's not like football where you literally have one job. Like, you've got to be able to do defense, and that's what Luka has to improve on for sure. But congratulations to making it to the end of the video. If I may be so bold to ask for your like and subscription to the channel, we would very much appreciate it.
Click the link on screen to check out the full app and our other segments on the channel. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching.
Namaste.